this computer. All right, so we are recording. So, thank you guys all for joining. My name is Rick Albert. I'm the Grand Master of the Kappa Sigma Los Angeles Alumni Chapter. And we have here Ben Maughan. He's a fitness trainer. Ben, I don't know if there's anything you want to say as an initial introduction.
I mean, not much. I've been operating as a trainer. I started out as a swim instructor in, I guess, 1999. And then I'm a former fat kid with struggling genetics, and we have mental health issues in my family. So both of those reasons are what started me getting in shape. I've been an athlete my whole life, but just struggled with my weight. And around 19, started really getting into fitness and studying it, and then helping other people because I just had a passion for it, and I like to teach. So then in about 2004, I got certified as a personal trainer. I started out at Gold's Gym in Hollywood, and then I shot up as far as their sales was concerned internationally. So I just moved out within about 8 months, went out on my own. I have a gym that I've been operating out of since, an independent gym in Hollywood. Right in Central Hollywood on La Brea and Santa Monica. And then I visit people's homes. I used to go to sets for actors, but since I've been moving into another industry, I'm just doing it part-time in the morning from about 5 a.m. until 9 or 10. So I still do some online stuff, customized nutrition meal plans, and I schedule people's workouts and customize the workouts for them. But I just have a lot of experience and a lot of passion, and I've been studying it for a long time. So it's nice to be on here to share information with you guys. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'm sure we can find an answer to it.
Perfect. I'm excited. As I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I was a former super fat kid, so I definitely been there. So we're going to structure this, split it basically the questions in half. So half fitness, then we'll go to the nutrition side. So we'll start with fitness. Being in quarantine, how important is getting exercise now versus before?
Massive. I mean, I'm going to have that answer for any time in any situation. But my answer would be even more so now, because we are, at least for most of us, we're lacking a schedule and routine. And I noticed a lot of people, their immediate reaction was just to stop doing everything and kind of hang out for a little bit. And we didn't know how long this thing was going to be. And when I go into a situation like this, whether it's relationship, a family issue, some kind of traumatic event, I've learned that I've got to get on top of this immediately. It's the first thing that I start doing, because it's the one thing that I can control. And it starts to allow me to control myself emotionally, mentally. And once I start getting my endorphin rush and my serotonin levels up, then I can start to assess the situation and kind of look out, and figure out what I'm going to do about the situation that I'm in. So I think this goes for everybody. We need physical activity. You need to eat healthy, and you'll struggle with everything around you if you don't. And it's also a matter of structure. So I'm trying to get up at the same time as I was when I was working full time. I'm trying to schedule my workouts just like I was. I'm getting my water in, just like I was before, so that I can stay, grounded and help everybody else around me besides helping myself.
Which makes sense. So then if you are at home, which everyone should be, with literally no supplies, right? They may not have the dumbbells, they may not have the kettlebells, or some people just may not have the experience. What are some things they can do?
So I'm going to go back to the mental aspect of it, which I'm huge on now. If it's important to you, you will find a way. So literally, I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of equipment because I have clientele that I'm still visiting, but I don't have a lot, because a lot of it I'm operating out of the independent gym. So I do have a set of 50-pound dumbbells. I've got some resistance bands, which I haven't even used. But a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is, I went my pull-up bar right now is the gaps between the staircase. I'm on the 3rd floor, so I'll walk down. I'm literally holding on to the staircase and doing my pull-ups that way. Cardio doesn't need any equipment. So, fitness is not rocket science. Everybody knows what they can do to move, whether you're doing yoga or dancing or whatever it is. But there's so much, especially with online, we have access to so many resources. There are internet sites that you can join for $10 a month that will give you an unlimited amount of yoga courses. We've got Beachbody, right, .com. So people are selling those DVDs online on Craigslist for $60 for like P90X. A lot of those home workouts have been established for the last 10 years. So, you know, it's really not a matter of what can I do or where can I get information. It's already there. It's just a matter of, you know, making it happen for yourself and getting motivated enough and staying on top of it and staying consistent. So yeah, to give you, because I could go into a number of like 50 different exercises, but nobody here is going to remember that. And to get into a detailed explanation of it, to how to run through that exercise yourself, all I can do is really offer resources, or, you know, you guys come to me and I can either train you or, you know, create a customized workout for you so that you have it. But it comes down to whether or not you want to get motivated to do it. So it's really more of a mental game than anything else.
Okay, and that makes sense. And you've already mentioned some of the resources. Are there certain resources on like YouTube? Like, are there certain channels that we should avoid because they don't know what they're doing versus some channels that are decent? That way, in case we want to use it as a reference.
Yeah, I think honestly, there's a lot of misinformation out there, right, and it really just depends. I wouldn't advise trying to pick up information from following anyone. Go to an established resource like Beachbody that has referrals, or, you know, there's a ton of trainers online that are doing it now also. But you know, at the end of the day, you can't go wrong. There's no hard, fast rule to how an exercise is performed. It's really just a matter of going through the reps and figuring out. It takes time. So I think people overthink things, and, you know, it becomes like I have to buy all this equipment, or I need to get like my clothes first, or I need to buy organic foods and I don't have the stuff that I need in the house, or I need to, you know, buy this Bowflex Select Tech, and until it comes, I can't get started, and it's horseshit. You can get started with a pair of running shoes that you have and just start going for a walk. You know, it's just a matter of consistently putting in the time, and over the course of a week or a month, it becomes easier, and you just start continually asking more of yourself and stepping it up. And as you go through those phases, you'll discover more information. You know, we get stuck in analysis paralysis where you want to try to figure out the best program, and you're going through all these internet sites, and it's like, dude, I've got enough knowledge. Every one of us on here has enough knowledge to get started. If you know how to do a push-up and a squat, and you know how to go for a jog, you can get started.
Okay. Well, you mentioned jogging, and some people hate running. Like, it's just, it's a passion. But, you know, and walking is great. It's a great start. What are some other things they can do to really ramp up burning the calories?
So it depends. Yeah. I mean, you can look at it a couple of different ways. I like to get the most bang for my buck. So I'm going to do the things that will burn the most calories if I'm doing cardio, or I want to try to get the most out of a resistance training program. But anything is going to be helpful. So it's not a matter of trying to find the right thing. It's the thing that you'll stick with. So if you enjoy doing martial arts, then that's the direction to go. If you enjoy dancing and doing Zumba, I'm not going to judge that. Just do it. You know, if you like walking and that's therapeutic for you, it's just a matter of moving. So for me personally, I enjoy bodybuilding. I like the process of it. I like the exercises, and I'm not trying to compete. I'm not going to be a bodybuilder, but that keeps me motivated enough to stay active and seeing my progress. So different guys are for performance, and, you know, being able to jump higher, run faster, and other guys are going to be more aesthetics. But it has to be, there has to be a strong why attached to it.
Okay.
As to why you're trying to accomplish that particular goal. You know, the stronger that your why is, the more likely you are to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. What if, so we do have alumni that are older, right, who can't necessarily run the marathons anymore. Right. What can our older alumni do to be active other than, you know, walking? I guess walking would be kind of the obvious one. But what are some like creative ones, or what are other options for them?
At this time, it's difficult because we don't have access to group fitness like a low impact aquatics course or something like that, right? but it's, you know, the basic movements are still there. It's like a lot of people will tell me initially, like, I can't squat. My knees are bad. I can't do movements like that. And I'm like, well,
That's a great
do you
example.
get in and out of a chair? Because every time you're getting in and out of a chair, you're squatting, right? So I think walking is actually extremely therapeutic, and it's probably the easiest thing that can be done. And really, everybody just needs to walk. It's enough. If you're watching your food and you're being careful with what you're eating, you're going to lose weight by walking, because at the end of the day, it's calories in versus calories out. So it's low impact. And, you know, other than that, but resistance training is for everybody. You can, whether it's lightweight or heavyweight, you know, depending on your goals. So even for my senior clients, I'm still using resistance training. It might just, you know, use bands, or I'll modify some of the movements, you know, things like that.
So maybe for our next alumni event, we'll set one location, but then secretly we'll all actually end up walking over somewhere else. I think it's kind of like the idea here.
Right.
Okay, that works. Is there anything else we should be aware of from a fitness standpoint? Is there any difference? Here's a good question. Is there any difference between working out in the morning versus middle of the day versus at night? Like
A ton of difference. So as an example, so you know, it's and I apologize if I'm not giving you guys something more to walk away with that makes it more clear cut. But when we get to the Q&A, ask me whatever questions that you guys have specifically, and I'll have an answer for it. It's just off the top of my head. It's very difficult to give you guys something to just be like, oh, okay, well, that's the answer. Like, let me do that. It's
Sure.
more of a mental and motivation game than anything else. So as far as working out in the time of the day, again, it goes down to, right now I'm intermittent fasting. My girlfriend is Muslim, so I'm assisting her and kind of supporting her by joining in on the fast. The religious portion of it is not for me, but I'm fasting about 20 hours a day, and I'm doing this.
Can you go more into, sorry, the intermittent fasting, like what is it?
Right. So intermittent fasting is a period of time where everybody fasts when they sleep. So a regular fast for someone would be 8 hours of a regular day. Okay. So that's why they call it fast. Okay. Breakfast. So by extending that fasting period, you start to go into a little bit more of the science part of fasting, where like my blood sugar levels will start to regulate at around 12 hours. I will start to go into ketosis around like 14 hours or so. And then if I go into 20, there's something called autophagy, where it's the rejuvenation of your cells. Basically, we're not meant to be constantly eating. And when you're giving your body a break from digesting and putting in that food, it allows itself to heal. So the deeper that you go into the fast, the more benefits that it has at a certain point. You obviously can't fast for multiple days in a row, but intermittent fasting will last anywhere from a 12-hour fast to a 36-hour fast. They don't recommend 36-hour fast more than once a week, but the most challenging daily fast is 20 hours. So basically, the way that it works for most people is by shortening the window of the time that you're eating, you're getting all those health benefits on top of not consuming so much food. So a natural byproduct of that is going to be, I don't have as much time to eat, so I'm probably going to end up eating less. Okay, well, that can be done also with consuming the same amount of calories if I'm fasting for 20 hours in a 4-hour window as it is in a 16-hour window of me eating. Because I'm bodybuilding and I calculate all my macros and my calories, I know, as you know, just to make it easy, if I'm getting 3,000 calories in a day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., if I'm going to fast for 20 hours, I'm now going to shove that same amount of food into a 4-hour window. It's a big commitment because I'm eating a lot during that time period. But what happens that's interesting is you put those 3,000 calories into that 4-hour window, and I've given my body time to go into ketosis, and my metabolism is rejuvenating. So I'm actually burning more calories with that break with the same amount of food. Well, not more calories, but I'm burning more fat, right? So it's a way to diet. It's a way to give yourself a break and just to boost health benefits.
Okay, and that makes sense. And actually, I've done intermittent fasting before, and it was super interesting because at one point you get like a burst of energy.
Yes.
I have friends who did it and they stopped actually drinking coffee.
Yes.
Like it
And
made a lot of changes.
yeah, and the other thing, I mean, one of the main reasons I like it is because of the scheduling. So with my work
Mm,
schedule, I'm still training clients. I get up at 4 a.m. I'm training clients from 5 until 9. Then I have a period during like 11 or 12 o'clock where I would usually fast till about 11 o'clock. I'll go hit the gym, maybe do some cardio, or I might do a morning workout. And then what happens to me is as soon as I put food into my system, I get like that afternoon slump.
mm.
And I spend a lot of time in the middle of the day prepping my meals. So by extending the fasting period, I'm not going through that lag where all that blood is rushing to my stomach and I'm already like, 8 hours into my day and I'm getting tired. And then I'm not, spending time prepping my meal. So I'm a lot more productive. It's better for me to eat all at once at the end of my day when I'm winding down than it is to eat throughout the day.
Oh,
And
okay.
because I'm restricting my time to the amount that I'm eating, I'm less likely to cheat. Because usually
Hmm.
what happens to me is I'll go through my 6 meals and now it's 8 o'clock and I might be up till 10 or 11 p.m. watching TV, and I'll end up grabbing something that's off my diet that's a little bit snacky, like peanut butter or chips or whatever it is. But when you shove it into that window, it's, for me at least, it's a lot more easy to be disciplined by not eating. And then once I'm eating, I'm getting so full with the amount of food that I'm having that it's, by that time I'm knocked out, I'm going to bed.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, that makes sense. So, kind of since you've already started talking about the nutrition side, why don't we kind of go ahead and start talking more about what we can eat? So,
Sure.
for example, like I'm an ice cream guy, always dairy free, uh, but I'm trying to cut back on how much I eat right now
Uh-huh.
because we're not as active. Am I correct in this assumption? Like, should we be cutting back on what we're eating? Am I missing something?
No, I think that the main thing that I do with people is try to get them to switch over the foods to a different quality of food. So rather
Oh,
than
interesting.
I find alternatives, but if your body's hungry, it's your body's way of saying that it needs more energy. A lot of the times that could be because you're tired at the end of the day. You're looking for something that's sweet to
Hmm.
wake you up, and it could be because you're dehydrated or you're tired. So they always say the best thing to do is to go to sleep. But what I've found to be more successful is to give people alternatives and to switch over the quality of food. So usually when I start with someone, the first thing that I'm going to say is take out dairies and sugars and try to go into whole foods, but eat as much as you want. Don't worry about the macros, how much is fat, how much is carbs, how much is protein. But I want you to try to change your palate to these like bland foods that you don't really like, right? And get out all this processed food. And eventually these things like fruit starts to become more sweet. If you can cut out processed sugar, things like strawberries or bananas, you'll get the natural sweetness of it. Or foods like honey. So at the end of the day, to make it easy, if it's from the earth, it's good for you. And if it's man-made in any way, that's where it's going to cause you problems because you're going to have processing issues.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Didn't think that. I guess that is an easy way to look at it. It's just like if it's grown in the ground, you're good to go.
Right.
Okay. So every bro's different. We're gonna get back to that. But for the bros that weren't active before, what what are some easy ways to transition into becoming healthy?
So I always suggest adding things in rather than taking things out first. So
Okay.
if I restrict something, it's a little bit harder mentally to deal with that. So the first thing that I would suggest is adding in water. Get your water up and add in vegetables. Um, if I'm more hydrated, my energy level is going to be up. So there's science suggesting that water and hydration is actually even more important than sleep as far as your energy is concerned. So adding in more water and getting on a regimen to get your hydration up is going to assist you in getting more energy to start being more active. The other thing is adding in more greens and more vegetables and more fiber into your food. And that's going to start picking up digestion and moving things through, and it will speed up the metabolism. So once you start doing that, it's a little bit easier. If you can get that initial boost, it's a little bit easier to start seeing some progress and then start saying, okay, well, I feel better. So now I can start, maybe I'm more likely to take things out. I'm not going to feel like I'm restricted so much.
And there might be a chance that you get full off those foods, so then you wouldn't be tempted to eat some of the unhealthy food to begin with. Like I'm already
Correct.
full off these carrots. I don't need to eat that
Correct.
BT.
Correct. Right.
Got it. Now, are there certain foods that help with metabolism over others?
Yes. So the natural foods will help with the metabolism, and then it's kind of like it's actually, nature's interesting. The darker that the food is or the alcohol is, the more dense it is, the slower it's going to move through the digestive system. So I'll put it in terms of alcohol because I know everyone will kind of be able to relate to this. But if I have like a rum or a whiskey or a scotch that has a higher sugar content, and it's not going to process in my body the same way that a gin or tequila or a white Chardonnay will. Those things are better for me to drink because they're lower in sugar and they're going to process a little bit faster into my system. It actually works the same way with the food, right? So there's benefits to a red wine, but a white wine is going to process faster. If I have brown rice, there's more fiber in it and there's benefits to that, but the white rice is going to metabolize faster. If I have a sweet potato, there's benefits to that, but a golden potato will process faster. So now talking about the fish, the salmon is the same thing. Benefits to the salmon, a tilapia or a halibut will process faster. So it's actually pretty simple. If you want to speed up your metabolism and things to move through you quicker, go with the lighter foods, like a steak, obviously, as opposed to a chicken or a turkey, right? It's going to actually move in that order. Steak, turkey has a little bit less fat, and then chicken has a little bit less fat than that, and then you move to a fish. The problem with doing that is that you're going to be hungry more often. So you have to find a balance within that.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So, and the same with the alcohol, right? So, like the lighter the
Right.
alcohol, it doesn't really speed up your metabolism. It's just better for you.
Well,
Or does it actually,
yeah. So maybe I should reword that. It actually,
like I see everyone's like, I'm drinking tequila now.
But actually, there is an ingredient in tequila that does speed up your metabolism. So agave actually has it aids in digestion and it will speed up your metabolism. That's the one alcohol that does actually speed up your metabolism.
Got it.
The lighter liquors, what I shouldn't use speed up your metabolism, but they digest faster. They move through your body quicker. And so when things are moving through your body quicker, your metabolism is up, right? So things are metabolizing faster when they're moving through the system faster. If I eat dairy, it's going to create, like, let's say I'm drinking milk, or I'm eating some kind of, like, I'm putting cream into my coffee. Dairy creates mucus. The mucus in the digestive system slows everything down. So that food caused my digestive system to slow down, and that slowed down my metabolism. So it kind of does, the food does cause the metabolism to either slow down or speed up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Is there anything else, or sorry, before I get to that, is there anything we should be avoiding that we think are healthy for us? Right? There's all these misconceptions, like the acai bowls, or you mentioned peanut butter is like a treat for you, but I'm a huge fan of peanut butter. Like, what are there some foods that we think are good for us that aren't?
I mean, and the reason I said the peanut butter is because I'll end up eating a ton of it. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
not so much of it.
I totally been there.
Yeah. I'll eat half the jar, if I'm not paying attention. But the main thing for men is to, we want to regulate our testosterone level. So you don't want to eat anything with soy. That would be the main thing, because it's going to increase estrogen and lower testosterone. That's the same thing to keep in mind when it comes to alcohol. It increases estrogen, it lowers testosterone, and you start to have, lower testosterone equates to higher levels of fat, less muscle tissue, libido going down. I'm sure you guys know all that. So
kind of like the beer belly.
I mean, it can end up being a beer belly. I think everybody reacts to low testosterone in different ways. It can also lead to depression. It can lead to improper sleep. It can lead to disinterest in sex and lack of libido. It can have a bunch of disadvantages, if your testosterone is low. So eating organically and eating whole foods and exercising on a regular basis increase your testosterone naturally. So that's why it's beneficial. Besides being, trying to be healthy and looking good, it kind of actually snowballs. So if I want to look good, I need my testosterone up, and I need to eat healthy in order to get my testosterone up. And then automatically I'm going to start to lean out, because now my testosterone's up, I'm building more lean muscle tissue, and it kind of just snowballs.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that in the last, maybe 20 years, there's this, nutrition and fitness industry, it's, you know, it's big business, and they're constantly trying to market some kind of new diet or new workout fad or piece of equipment. And so there's been this like thing where, you know, in the 80s it was low carb and high fat, Dr. Atkins diet, right? And now it's become, well, stay away from sugar completely, don't have any carbohydrates, and all of that is wrong. You need all of it. You can't be afraid of carbohydrates. Each macro has its own purpose. And to give you guys a rough example, when I'm bulking, when I'm in a bulking phase, my carbohydrates are at about 60% of my diet. When I cut, the lowest that they get is about 40%. So never at any point am I reducing my carbs so much that I'm like on a keto diet. The only time that I would implement a keto diet is if I'm in a bulk and I'm gaining body fat with the muscle that I'm putting on, and I'm feeling bloated and I'm holding water. I might cut the carbs for a week max to let my body release some of that water that it's holding, and then go right back into the bulk. So this whole low carb and keto stuff, it's not healthy for you. You have to have a balance of nutrition, a balance of fruits and vegetables, healthy proteins, healthy fats, healthy carbohydrates. Now, depending on how far you want to take that and then what your goal is, then you can start calculating those macros according to your needs.
And could it vary week by week? So like one week you're like, all right, this is my diet based off of just how my body's reacting to something, or if it's certain workouts, like this week I'm working on chest, therefore there might be a diet kind of geared towards that. Is that right? Like, could your diet change?
If it got
weekly,
complicated
monthly?
enough, you can do something like carb cycling. And my back days and my leg days will have a higher carb amount and a higher calorie intake than my chest, shoulder, and arm days.
Why is
because
that?
they require more output, right? So the bigger muscle group, I'm going to need more fuel in my system. So when I'm really dialed in and I'm really doing well, my carb intake and my calorie will go up on legs and back, because those workouts are a lot more intense than chest, shoulders, and arms. So I don't need, basically what I'm doing is if I'm bulking or cutting, I'm reducing the calories where I don't need them. I'm going to get so scientific about it that there's no reason for me to say, well, if I have this much information, I don't need to be at 2,500 calories every single day. I don't need that. On the days that I'm doing my legs and my back, I might need 2,500 calories. But if I only need 2,300 calories on the days that I'm doing my chest, shoulders, and arms, then I'm going to reduce it. So there is a little bit of math to that. There's formulas to achieve that. So it just depends on how involved you want to get. You can customize the diet to meet those needs, though. It can get very specific, but it's just a matter of how motivated you are and how far you want to go. If you just want something simple, that's easy to work with, that's a lunch that's easy to pack for work, that's one thing. If you really want to see how far you can get, then you go into a different direction.
So, and this wasn't actually one of the emails I sent you, but some of the stuff you're bringing up, meal prepping.
Ask me any question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So meal prepping has become very popular,
right?
Especially in Los Angeles, where like I know our busy schedules. Like for once, while in quarantine, we're actually spending time to make lunch, breakfast, dinner. But for meal prepping, what are some good tips? Because you're meal prepping for the whole week. Like I've made chicken where like Monday it tastes great, it is beyond dry by Friday.
So that would be tip one, is I meal prep for 2 to 3 days at a time.
So don't meal prep for the whole week.
No, because the food starts to go bad. And when you're eating that bland and when you're trying to stick to a diet that's like that, the better it's cooked and the better it tastes, the more likely you are to stick to the diet. If your chicken is getting dried out and it's not tasting as good by like the 4th day, you're not going to eat it. So you have to try to make things as easy for yourself as possible. It's like picking the closest gym. I'm more likely to get there if it's 5 minutes away, as opposed to me saying, well, I'm going to go work out at Gold's Venice, but it takes me 45 minutes to get there. Most of the time I'm not going to go.
Literally my gym's across the street from my office. And that's part of the reasons why I signed up for there.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I have no excuse not to go to the gym.
Example. That's a perfect example. So the same thing applies to the food. I've got to make it doable and easy for myself. So because I work from home a lot of the time, meal prepping is not a big deal for me. So I'm able to do it more often. Sometimes I'll make my meals on a daily basis, which is why, I've started to go into this intermittent fasting, because I'm not spending so much time like cooking. I want my food to taste good.
Hmm.
So, did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, I know,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Is there anything else on the nutrition side we should be aware of? Do's, don'ts, do this, don't do that. And
No,
again, we understand everyone's different.
yeah. Yeah. Everyone's different, but honestly, I will tell you guys this. It depends. Like, you don't, if you're really working in sales, you track your sales for the quarter, and then you go back and you look at it and you study everything, all the calls that were logged, how many people that you talked to, how many in-person interviews that you had. That's the way to get things done. Nutrition and fitness are the same way. So a lot of the frustration that people have is because they don't want to go the distance of like measuring their food out and figuring out what their calorie count is going to be. But that's how you get the results. Because even at my level, that I've been doing it for this long, unless I know exactly how much food I took in, I'm throwing darts in the dark, and I will be off. And it's kind of like, I should be leaning out, but I'm not, and I'm doing all this work, and I even know where my ballpark is. But when I start counting the calories and weighing everything out, that's when you start to get results. And when you get results, you get more motivated. You're more likely
Mhm.
to do it. If I can get someone past the first 10 pounds, if they have to lose weight, other people start to notice. And when other people start to notice and they comment on it, you start to feel good. When a person gets to the 20-pound mark, then that's when it's over, because they can see it in themselves, and they realize that the work that they've been doing is taking effect, and now they're more likely to do it. But you have to get past that first, 10 to 20 pounds. Or for someone who's trying to lean up, they got to see a couple abs coming in. But if you're working out and you're seeing nothing for 4 months, it's not going to motivate you enough to continue to go or to push to the next level.
How do you stay motivated? Because to your point, like I noticed there's times when I was doing certain workouts, I would do them for months and I saw zero results.
Mhm.
So how do you stay motivated, or how do you get your clients motivated to keep going?
To be honest, this is why I started off this interview with a lot of talk about mental aspect and motivation,
Mhm.
because for every single person, it's different. So I've learned that I have to ask questions and kind of dig into their psyche to figure out why they're doing it and why it's important. And I'll be 100% honest with you guys. What my motivation is, I have issues from when I was a kid, and I was insecure about my body, and sex was a huge driver for me. I wanted to be able to get girls, talk to girls, and then once I got there, then it started to turn into, well, now I have this mental health issue that my family's dealing with, and I notice that when I don't work out, I start to get depressed.
Mhm.
And I start to deal with, the world starts collapsing, and I'm not structured, and I'm not getting that serotonin boost that I need. So that's another motivator for me. Now, then it became, well, now this is my job. I have to look good. So I don't want my business to collapse. So I have to do it for that purpose. Now it is at a level where, and some of this was, from Tony Robbins or other motivational people that I studied and pulled from. I'm more efficient. I just get more things done when I exercise. So if I get my workout done, I'm more likely to get other things done, and my energy level and my production level is higher, because all I care right now about is family and my career. So if I can get more stuff done in my workday and I can be more productive, that's my number one goal. It's not so much about what I look like anymore. I've got a steady girlfriend that I'm happy with. I'm not going out to bars. And so all those initial goals that I had, and the reasons that I was motivated, they don't matter anymore. It's something else. I need to get as much stuff done in the shortest amount of time as possible. And the way for me to do that is to not be hungover, to be hydrated, to have slept well, to be able to get my energy levels up by exercising. And that's the reason that I'm doing it now. So you have to find that reason for yourself, and kind of ask yourself those questions. And then you've got to commit and execute. You can't sit around and talk about, well, this is going to be better for me, I'm going to start doing this. And another thing, I play mind games with myself. I post my workouts or my goals on Instagram, and it has nothing to do with me bragging about it. I'm actually doing it because then I have to be held accountable. So I don't really give a shit what anybody else thinks on there. It's because once I put the post out and I say, I've got 6 weeks to get in shape, if I don't do it, I'm going to look like an idiot.
That
So,
makes sense.
those are some of the things that I do for myself.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay. Well, this has all been great. I truly appreciate you jumping on the call. If bros want to use your services, where can they get a hold of you and talk about what their goals are and how you can help? How can they get a
Yeah,
hold of
so I
you?
would love to help any of you guys for questions. I love talking about this stuff, and I could go on for days. So probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is through Instagram. Strongman Enterprises is my Instagram handle, and then my Facebook is Ben Strongman Maughan. But you guys can DM me. You can I put a lot of information constantly in my stories. I don't post as much on the main wall anymore, but I'm constantly putting tips. Since we started doing this intermittent fasting for Ramadan, I started putting information about the science behind it and ways that people can take advantage of it for themselves. So that's the best thing to do, is follow me on Instagram, whether you guys want to interact with me or not, because you'll get a lot of tips there. Because usually what happens is, as I'm going through something with myself, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I should share this information with everybody else. And it will change from day to day. I put posts of introductions of new exercises. I've been posting, exercises that you can do at home that don't require equipment. So some of the questions that you've had for me, those are answered through my daily posts.
Oh, interesting. Nice. Okay, great. Let's see does anyone have any questions? Someone asked if you can type in your IG handle.
Oh yeah, how do I do that?
Under chat at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, oops, sorry. I'm like, this is like my second Zoom call, so
Not bad. It wasn't like we started off with just a picture of your eye, so I appreciate that. But I guess we handled everything. So just type that in there, and then I will add it to the video once I edit it, so we can post it online. So I'll have it there as well.
Rick, the only thing I've got on the bottom of my screen is everybody's videos. Everybody's pictures.
Okay. Well, then I will get it out to everyone.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead, and I will be kind of unofficially signing off because we're going to hop over to the happy hour. But thank you so much for doing
thank
this.
You guys too.
It's the first time we've done this, and the goal is to do more of these types of interviews with bros in Los Angeles, to kind of, so we all get to know each other. What can we do? How can we all learn? So I do appreciate it.
All right. Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.